jump XXY. It doesn't connect as much as you'd like, and of course it doesn't kill them. So you gotta keep on killing them. What you want to do is get into a pattern of killing one, using the essence to do a 360 ET in the other one. Once they're delimbed, they're much easier to take care of. So you can see the Zuno Drop doesn't even delimb them. Now I'm full of health, got one essence, I'm going to chain that. Now staying in the water here will actually protect you from the IS explosions if the IS miss. So it's a good habit to stay into. Okay, just keep on going around the periphery. There's 40 of these guys. You gotta be very careful of their grab attacks. So when I jump to do my on-landing 360 charge, I always jump away from them to make sure if I jump towards them, a lot of times they like to catch you when you're doing your on-landing, and it really hurts. Okay. Now I missed my 360 ET, and that's just the risk that you take. So keep on doing this. There's several other ways to handle them. Pretty soon I'm going to switch over to the Tonfa just because a Tonfa ET will kill them. And I don't want to keep on doing this over and over again. But I just want to show you the first few ninjas, a few different techniques, how to deal with them. And apply that to all 40 of them. And when you need health, take it. So don't use ETs, kill them regularly to try to get your health. Okay. Now we're on to the Tonfa, so I'll spam this for a little bit, and we're going to talk about a couple other subjects. First subject I'm going to touch on briefly is you probably noticed in this chapter I'm giving you strategies of how to beat fights, yet a lot of times the way I'm beating the fights is because my strategy is failing or not going by the strategy. The reason why I'm not just going to keep on resetting all the time until my strategy comes out perfect is because I'm not a perfect player, and I'm assuming most of you out there are not perfect players. So you need to see, I'm going to tell you the basic strategy, but I'm also going to show examples of how to adapt when your strategy doesn't go the way you want it to. So I don't want to keep on resetting all the time. Every time my strategy doesn't work perfectly, I'm going to show you different ways of adapting to it. So you saw right there I used a Life of the 1,000 Gods. I'm saving the first two for this test of Valor itself. Whenever you plan on using your Lives of the 1,000 Gods, make sure you use them before you put any herbs or any grains in there. Increasing your life bar will increase how much health you get from the herbs and the grains, so it's important to use the Lives of the 1,000 Gods first. Okay, for the rest of the ice ninjas, I'm going to show you a few more techniques to take care of them, but I'm not going to talk about what I'm doing unless I see something that's absolutely important to talk about. Let's go back to the not being perfect part. Now, I did the first two chapters using no items, and I understand that not everybody's going to be able to do that. I don't expect everybody to be able to do that. I used it because, or I did it that way because I knew what chapter 3 was going to give me if I took the time to do the first two chapters using no items. And out of this chapter I'm getting 147,000 in essence, and a large part of that is because I'm maxed out in items. Now I don't expect everybody to be maxed out in items. You're going to sacrifice essence if you're not, but you're also going to have a lot less of a headache by not trying to be as perfect as possible. So priorities. First priority for this chapter is to upgrade at least one weapon, if not two. And like I said, the Luna is your first weapon to upgrade. The other thing you want to do is you want to end this chapter with enough essence to buy or to restock your items, or at least semi-restock your items for the first gauntlet in chapter 4. Those are your main priorities. Now, because I was very conservative on my essence usage, I was able to upgrade all three of my weapons, and I have plenty of essence left over to completely restock up for chapter 4. Okay, let's talk about Life of the Gods and Lives of the 1,000 Gods. Chapters 1 through 8, you get one Lives of the 1,000 Gods per chapter, and you also get your 9th Life of the God in chapter 5, and you get your second 9th Life of the God in chapter 11. So for the first 11 chapters, you have a total of 10 health upgrades. Now, if you're in Master Ninja already, you're already going to know which fights are going to give you the most problem, and so plan accordingly. I know this fight's going to give me a little bit of problem just because of the health bars so low, so I plan on using 2 Lives of the 1,000 Gods here. I know that Test of Valor in chapter 6 is going to give me a huge problem, so I'm planning on using at least 2 Lives of the 1,000 Gods, if not my 9th life of the god as well. So that leaves me with a few other times to use it. Mainly I'm going to be using them for certain difficult tests of Valor, or for difficult bosses. I always like to save one for Dogradai as well, because I suck on Dogradai big time. And oddly enough, I suck on long drawn-out fights like the Test of Valor. So by knowing your weaknesses and knowing when you're going to get the Life of the Gods and Lives of the Thousand Gods, go ahead and plan ahead, so make sure you're equipped for the more difficult fights. The other thing when you're using them is make sure you're using when your health bar is low, that way you get the most effect out of them. Okay, let's talk about Ninpo upgrades. Like I said, for this chapter I upgraded my Wind Ninpo to level 2. My next goal is to completely max up my Inferno Ninpo as soon as possible, and that'll most likely be in chapter 5. After I've got my Inferno Ninpo maxed out, then I'm going to max out the Void Ninpo, and that's going to be by chapter 7. I should have that one maxed out, basically by the time I get it. Once I have the Void Ninpo maxed out, then I'm going to go ahead and max out my Wind Ninpo, and finally after I got all 3 of those maxed out, I'm going to go and upgrade my Phoenix Ninpo.